Yes, NBA Weekly. Need a pretty boy. Just want to talk about what's going on in the past week. First, I gotta give congratulations to LeBron James and Russell Westbrook being the players of the week for October 25th to October 31st, respectively. Been both averaging a triple double. Been leading their teams to some impressive victories. So those two guys been balling. You could have gave it to so many guys. A lot of guys had a great week, but I think that's deservingly for those two guys to get it. Second, we're going to talk about Draymond Green. He's talking about teams trying to pump the Golden State Warriors. I'm like, listen, Draymond, a lot of stuff is self-inflicted. A lot of media hyped. Uh, the whole Splash Brothers being, darlings of the NBA. There's just a lot of variables going with it. But the biggest one right now, I think, is acquisition of Kevin Durant. So teams is going to be going at you because the whole super team thing. I think from a professional standpoint, a lot of players probably don't like it as much, and then you also have the media with a lot of the people that's kind of old school. They're gonna, they don't like super teams, and they just want everybody to do their own, stay with the same franchise and things like that. I'm not going to talk about Durant's decision to go Golden State because I support it. Anybody want to go to any team, I support it. You have an obligation to play for the team, but if they're not doing, you feel that you've done everything that you can and you want to go somewhere else, you have that right. You have that right. And him going to Golden State, that's where he wanted to go. That's his decision he had to make. Ray Allen retired. Ray Allen, Jesus Shuttlesworth. That's my boy. That's one of my favorite players. Arguably one of the greatest shooters of all time. Coming off them screen shooting. Early in his career was just off the dribble driving, going to the basket. I remember one of his greatest plays to me is when he dunked over T-Mac in that first round back in 2001. Y'all know about that, but listen, Google it, folks. Talking about Ray Allen had some lift. He had some lift. He used to go to the basket, but everybody just remembers him. Shot against Miami. Big shots in Boston. But his early careers, I just in Milwaukee, he was just unbelievable, especially in Seattle too. I mean, one year he averaged like 27 points a game. Was a top five MVP voting, and the team went to the second round. Jerome James. I remember. Contract extensions. Victor Oladipo, 4-year, $84 million deal. They're giving out money. Do he deserve it? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see about that, if he deserves it or not. Steven Adams, 4 years, $100 million extension. Does he deserve it? We'll see. I mean, they've been giving out a lot of money to a lot of players in the NBA, but we just got to see if they could. I mean, they play on the point could live up to the contract they received. Um, but it's going to take probably a couple years for people just to see, okay, this is what the market is offering and this is what players expected to make. So it's going to be to a point that, you can have a center averaging 12, 13, and 9 with one or two blocks a game and averaging getting 20 something $1 million a year, and that's deservingly for him. So it's going to take a couple years for everybody to sit on a lot of these contracts. Cody Zeller got paid 4 years, $56 million. That's kind of reasonable. He's not too much of a high productive, but he's young, got potential, and the Hornets, felt they need to pay him. Stifle Tower, Rudy Gobert, made 4 years, $102 million. Like I said, the same thing with Steven Adams, but I think him more deservingly over Adams because he can rebound at a high level. He can block shots. He can cover people off a lot of pick and roll situation, and he's just a natural rim protector, intimidator in the paint. So with him, I think that deservingly. We just got to see situations also in Utah extending several other players. So we just got to see about that. Gorgie Zhang from the Timberwolves got 4 years, $64 million. Another young player. He's a shot blocker and things like that, and kind of a protective of Anthony Towns. So we'll see Minnesota, extending him, probably at a bargain rate. We just want to see if he'll live up to the contract. Most likely he will. Depend. And last, got to talk about Anthony Davis, man. He's frustrated. His team is 0-5 and losing all these games. Gotta listen, Anthony Davis. You got to blame this on management. They're not making the right things to get you better players. And I think the whole Alvin Gentry situation on him coming in, and I think Monty Williams, that was just, I was just very upset about that because Monty Williams was having a team, getting better every single year. And the defensive mindset of the team was a plus. Like I said, the whole situation in New Orleans, Dell Dempsey and these guys, and situation with them getting football player trainers and things like that. It's just, I think this whole thing is unfair. They say you get you get in the hand me downs from the Saints, and I think that's what it is. You're just getting hand me downs from the Saints. It's one thing of being in a city where it's another team more beloved, but the other one is like you getting hand me downs. Well, that's it for NBA Weekly. All right. See you next week.